This is the Reins Daily Podcast. Thanks for listening. This is the first episode, and my first guest is Justin Barney from 88.9's Radio Milwaukee.
I was born on Griffin Avenue, Griffin and Howard.
Holy cow, I could walk there.
I have a twin brother, and my mom and dad. That's where we started. My dad works for the post office downtown, and he works there now, and he worked there then. My mom is a teller at a bank on 27th and Layton that I worked out when I was in high school too. And we didn't, when I was born, I didn't have a sister, but I have a sister who's 10 years me and Jarek's younger. We adopted her from Russia.
Wow.
And my childhood was good. We grew up in Bayview, and then we moved out to Greenfield and went to St. Charles Borromeo in grade school, and then we moved out further to Franklin, and I went to Franklin High School. And sometimes I feel like I'm in the music industry now, and but I wasn't in high school and stuff. I wasn't like a musical dude. I've always loved music, but that's why I feel like I'm a good fit for a music director at a radio station because I've never been in a proper band. I always wanted to, but I in a band you kind of have to find the right people, and you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really found those right people, and also I wanted to I wanted to get into music. We couldn't my parents never bought me an instrument. We can it's not like we couldn't really afford it, but we couldn't my parents weren't gonna give me lessons or anything. And we went to this Catholic school, and we didn't have a music program at the Catholic school. We had a music class, but we didn't really have a way to learn an instrument. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to learn an instrument, but we didn't really have a means to do that. And then I went to public high school, and I was like, okay, they have instruments, they have music classes and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to be in the band. I want to learn an instrument. And they were like, you have to be at this level to be in the thing. So I couldn't. So in grade school, we didn't have a music program, so I couldn't learn one. And then in high school, I was like, I couldn't be in the music program because I hadn't learned one.
You were supposed to learn one in grade school.
Yeah.
Well, call the principal there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I tried.
So I kind of I feel like I really wanted to do that and to have that, but I never really had that institutional opportunity.
Right.
And I know that I could outside, but when you're a kid and in grade school and in high school, those are the institutions that we have of which to learn those things, and I never got that. So so I never really learned an instrument, but I've always been super into music, and that kind of came from my dad. My dad is real into music. My mom actively does not like music.
That is bizarre.
My mom, whenever music is on, my mom is like, get this noise off.
Really?
Hates music.
I've always wondered about that. Is there a person that exists that just doesn't like music in general? I've never met anyone like that.
She likes the Christian radio station.
Oh.
She'll have that on low, okay, gotcha, or in the background, but just because she likes God and she likes when people like God, so
it's if they're not praising God, it's a sin to listen to it, or
if it's
secular or whatever.
If it's not, I think the reason that my mom doesn't is because if it's not praising God, I think she sees it as being in praise of themselves. My mom really does not like ego. That's her beef with with musicians, with like performers of any sort. She is like comedians. She's always like, that person thinks they're so funny. And and she really doesn't like that. Or like that person thinks they're so great. And my mom, it's just like that ego of like thinking that you are that you're higher up or better. She really, really hates that. And so I think she really doesn't like music or performance because of that. Which is weird that I am like, I don't mind that as much. Because I love art, and I love that people are making art. I love that that people are creating things that are kind of like that are outside of themselves, that are like a part of the world, or like culture is this thing of our own creation, and I love when people add to that, or I can learn something from someone that made a piece of art. But my mom just sees it as self-serving, as being like,
How pessimistic.
I know.
It's beautiful, but man, did they really have to do that for themselves like that?
That really is her
but there's
view.
something to be said there. I mean, I can completely, see that and agree with that it comes off kind of obnoxious and
that's I feel like that's like art at its worst, and I think that's what she sees.
Yeah,
and that's what she doesn't like.
We have similar kind of childhoods where we went to private schools, and then
what private school did you go
to? Jordan Lutheran School.
Okay.
Yeah, I had 8 kids in my class.
Wow.
And then I graduated 8th grade to go to high school.
Yeah.
And I graduated with 8 kids in my class. And high school, Nathan Hale, I had like 400 in freshman class. It was...
That was similar to me. Where we didn't have 8. We were like the biggest school. We were the biggest class in our school at St. Charles, and we had like 20 kids, which was huge.
Right.
But it's like the same 20 kids from kindergarten to 8th grade. Yeah. I still those are still my best friends.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I didn't keep any of those friends.
No. And it's funny because I don't have a lot of friends from high school. But I still, and I a big part of it is because I have a twin brother, and that really helped me get through like that transition of like going from really small to really big. I always had Jarek. I always had Jarek as a friend, and I also we also had sports. So I played soccer and basketball all through both, and that for me that was a really like I needed that for a friend group. And like I needed to like be involved, or to have a scene or a place. Yeah. And before even getting into the school, like we were in soccer, and like having a group of people to like come into the school year that we knew,
right,
and that we like hung out with outside of school.
That would help.
That really helped and was important.
Did your twin brother go to that same high school?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's really helpful. Any kids from your grade school go on to that high school? Probably not, eh?
We had one, Curtis Frajoff.
You don't say that like it's a positive thing. Well, we did have the one.
We had one, and we're in like a fantasy football team together,
and that's about it.
So, I still see him, but we're like, we're tied together through time, and we're buds.
Yeah.
But we weren't. It wasn't immediately like.
When it comes to Sundays, you're gonna kick his butt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. But I got in terms of like music and stuff. I failed kindergarten music class.
You did.
I got an F because.
At least you had one. I didn't have any music. At all. I had to learn from a youth group guitar player. From a Christian youth group guitar player who played a lot of Dave Matthews Band. He was really good at it.
Yeah, because if you were in like the private school thing, you would have had a similar situation to me where you didn't have a music class.
Right. Yeah.
You had the youth group guitar dude.
Yeah, and just same thing. I had to buy this guitar out of my own money, and I just kept playing it. I just kept playing the song Wonderwall by Oasis because I learned how to play that on guitar.
Yeah.
I was like,
great song. Too bad
I know how to play this. I'm just going to keep doing it. So,
but actually, we're in this room and we've got Elvis next to us. And that was what made me fail kindergarten was...
I'm sorry.
The teacher played Elvis and I was dancing too hard. And I would just sing and dance to Elvis.
Then you really passed.
Yeah.
In his eyes, you passed.
Yeah, for real. And my teacher was like, I was too disruptive in music class because I was like too into it.
That's what you're supposed to
Failed
do.
me. I know.
Yeah.
Right? It was Catholic school, you know? It was like, oh my God.
You're
what is...
self-serving right now. Your mom came in.
Yeah.
Justin, it's not about you and your dance moves. Okay?
I know.
All right. Well, what was your first aha moment as far as were you ever a writer or was it always radio broadcasting or what was your first where you thought this I think is my path. I'm going to do this. When did that happen?
I always wanted to be a lead singer of a band, you know, and so I've always had some kind of desire to
he's singing too.
I've always had some desire to be creative and I've always really loved writing. So I was I wanted to be a singer or a writer or some kind of something creative there. And I went to UW-Madison, and when I was there, I saw it was on the day where you're signing up for classes, and the student radio station WSUM had somebody had a folding table that had a piece of cardboard that said, "Do you want to be a DJ?" And written in Sharpie.
Yes.
and I was I remember being that would be fun. That would be cool. I have, I when you're 18 or 19, I was I have the best music taste of anyone that has ever listened to music in the history. And so I was oh, that'd be cool. And then I just put that in the back of my mind. And then in my junior year, I followed a friend into the radio station. And I saw where it was. Mm-hmm. And I was that's a thing that I could do. And I was I think I want to try that out just to be creative and just to have that space and to play music and talk about music that I love.
Right.
How much fun could that be? And then it was and then once I got into WSUM, I was this is great. This is super fun. And I got to talk about all the music that I love. What... and also I got to write. So I got to write these little pieces that I got to say on air. So it was I could play music and then do this spoken word piece essentially.
Right.
And I really, and it's this college radio station, so you could do whatever you want. And so I would do a lot of writing, and then I got to play my own music, and I was this is fun and great, and I love this. And then I also didn't know what I was doing in school. I came into Madison, and I was I'm gonna do forestry and wildlife ecology. that was what I thought. I was I need to do something in the sciences, and so I was forestry sounds cool. And then they were there's no, what are you gonna do? Be a
forest guy?
Forester? And I remember I talked to foresters, and they were yeah, don't go into this job.
They're all smoking cigarettes, drinking beer at happy hour. Don't do it, man.
Don't do it.
I'm a bit of forester 20 years, and let me tell you, I forested out.
Yeah. And then I was okay, maybe I'll go into horticulture. And then I did that, and it was a lot of lab work, and I was I didn't want to do that. And then I was just kind of aimless in terms of what I wanted to do, and I really didn't know, but I really love the humanities, and so I just took a bunch of history classes and poli-sci classes and anthropology classes, and wow. I was just okay, I really like humanities. I really like the study of humans and art and culture, and so then my my first senior year, I majored in political science. And then my second senior year, I double majored in history. And I graduated, and I was like, okay, I have degrees in poli-sci and history. What am I gonna do?
Be a DJ.
Be a DJ. And it was the only like applicable thing in life that I had done at that time was be a DJ. And I was like, it was really like my only path. Because I was like, what am I going to do? Go into politics? But I was like, how do you do that? You know, like, what? I don't know. Like, what are you, an intern for somebody at the Capitol or something like that? Yeah. And then like history, and I was like, history is cool. But I like took a black music class, and I was like, I remember like my teacher was like a music historian, and I was like, music history is so cool.
It is.
And how do I do this? I remember like going to his office hours and being like, how do I do your job? And he was like, you don't want to do my job.
I used to be a forester, now I'm doing this. I'm over 2.
He was like, I'm a lecturer and I get paid nothing, and my wife has to like support our family, and it's like fun to do this job, but it pays nothing, and also I'm the only one that does it. So good luck. And so it was like radio was real, like it was like do or die. I mean, I graduated. I was looking for jobs, and I remember it was like my second senior year, and I was like, how do you look for a job? You know, I don't know how.
Which they're supposed to prepare you for that kind of stuff,
right? But they really don't. You know, I remember like going to the counselor's office and being like, what can I do with degrees in history and political science? And they're like, you can do anything.
Right. Like, it was very vague like that.
Yeah. Like
whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's your world.
Yeah. And it was just so frustratingly vague. And I was like, okay, it seems like radio is like this thing that I really like. And that seems like a thing that I should, pursue. And I tried to get like jobs at NPR and WPR, but I was like, I don't want to be like a DJ at like a country radio station or a pop radio station, or like some music that I hate. Like I don't want to just be a DJ for the sake of being a DJ. And so I applied to the internship at 88.9, and I was like, I remember I was like walking to class, I was listening to Tom Waits on the Nickel. And there's this line in that song where Tom Waits says, the world keeps getting bigger when you get out on your own. And I just started crying in the middle of the street. I was just
on the way to the interview?
On the way to my class.
Oh, your class, right.
Because I was like, yeah, the world keeps getting bigger when you get on your own. Like I'm gonna do nothing. Like I'm gonna be a bum. And
very optimistic though.
I had so much fear of failure.
I think that it has a lot of it, at least is my opinion. I think a lot of that has to come up from our upbringing. I feel like fear is really ingrained in us when you are raised like biggest Christian fear. Or whatever.
Yes.
Yes. That's a part of it. For whatever reason, it's don't do it because this might happen, or what's going to happen when this happens, or and it's almost overwhelming.
And I think that's like, I think I never really committed to like being a musician because I was afraid.
Right.
I think that was like a big part of it. And so like now I get to be in like this position where I'm like I get to do things that are creative and which I absolutely love, but I'm not like I'm talking about people that are creative is a majority of my job, and I get to do like creative things around that too. So I think I'm in a really good position. But so I'm crying going across the street listening to Tom Waits, and then I got to my classroom, and Jordan, who's my boss now, called me, and he said, "We'd like to have you in for an interview to be an intern." But I remember like getting that, and then going back to my boss at the one of the jobs that I had then, I was a financial manager at a dorm room.
Very exciting.
And I had his boss, Jim Franzoni, who's a great guy. And I was like, Jim, like, I'm graduating from 5 years from this top 10 university in the world. I was like, I'm gonna come out of this with an unpaid internship, possibly a 3-month unpaid internship. Like, that's what all of this has been for. And I was like, should I even apply for this internship? It's 3 months unpaid, you know? And he was like, apply for the job. They'll love you. And I was like, okay. And so then I applied for that. But then once I got, I got the 3-month unpaid internship at 889. Mm-hmm. And then once I was there, I was like, I'm scared. Because what else am I going to do? Right. What else am I going to do with my life? This is the one thing that I have. I don't want to work at any other kind of radio station. I like the music that 889 played. I was like, I like the mission, and I like the organization, and I'm graduated, and I've got no other options. Yeah. You will hire me, do or die. It was like, I was just determined to get that job. I was like, there's nothing that they could do to like get me away. I was like, I'll stay as long as it takes. You know, I was like, I was hired to work 3 days, 3 days a week for 3 hours a day. Mm-hmm. And just like immediately I was like, I'm gonna work every day. I'm gonna come in Monday through Friday. I'm gonna work 4 hours a day. I'm gonna come in at 8 o'clock in the morning before everybody gets there. Yeah. I'm gonna leave at noon because I had a job in a mailroom at this bank to make money. And so I was like, I need to make money. Yeah. I was like, I need to do that. So I had to like leave at noon. But I was like, I'm working here until they give me a job. Wow. And then after a year of working unpaid, every single day, I worked on my birthday. I worked on Christmas Eve, you know, and for an entire year. Wow. And then someone left, and then they put me through the ringer on, and they opened a position, and then I wrote the job description. And then they almost didn't hire me for the job. Really? Yeah, because it's a job in radio, so there's just no jobs in radio. So
a lot of applicants, probably.
So many applicants. An intro level job in radio, we had like 200 people apply from like across the country.
Holy cow.
And I was like, they almost didn't hire me for that position. That was the worst time in my life, but then they did.
Wow. So it's kind of, at least in my life, and I feel like it's applicable to more people, but there's always this fortitude, that comes from something deep down that either you don't want to turn out this way, or you saw this happen with your dad, or something deep that really sometimes subconsciously pushes you through the challenging moments, Like for me, it was, I don't want to struggle growing up. I don't want to worry about money.
God.
I want to...
Is that true?
I just want to, more along the lines of, I just want to be the best person and version of myself that I can be, because I see what happens when you don't try to be that.
Dude, I'm like got goosebumps from you saying that, because that's just like, that's been so much of my life is, I think that's what keeps driving me, is to be the best version of me that I can be. And I really think I really lucked out at this job. I lucked out because it's a great job, and also because I think that it so perfectly fits me. Mm-hmm. Because like one of my big drives is like, I love art, I love music. I love anything that's creative. I love the culture of art. And so I get to champion this thing. And I also I have a lot of passions. Like I'm a very passionate person, mm-hmm. and I'm passionate about the things I'm passionate about. And then I get to talk about those things every day. And it's like, and then I'm really driven by something that my parents, put into me, that was like, whatever you do, be the best at that thing. Yeah. And if I had a different job, I'd be trying to be the best that I could be at that job.
Right.
And like in any situation, and I happen to be at this thing that I think like really fits me and that I'm really happy with.
Right.
And so I'm in a great place there. And it is the drive to like keep on doing the best that I can do, to like see. And like, I really love 88.9 because we've got so many different ways to go. We got so many different, it's really like, I can be creative and still like, and still have that in have like the institutional part of it. Like I still go to an office every day. So I still have that part where it's like, this is a job, like, and I need that. I need the structure.
Totally.
I could not live without that structure. Totally. I couldn't work freelance. I couldn't do that. There's just too much anxiety.
Completely agree, yeah.
Too much fear, and it's the drive of like I'm afraid of not having a job. I'm afraid of not doing well. I'm afraid of disappointing the people that I love. And so I keep on wanting to be the best, to show my mom that I can do this,
totally.
to be like, Mom, like I did it.
Listen to me.
Like, my parents pushed hard against me.
Oh, doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, I would imagine. Yeah.
Doing something that was because they didn't go to college and they didn't, so their understanding of like going to school was like, you go to the university, you get the paper, then you get money.
Yeah.
And
you're like, I'm going to intern. Yeah. And they're like, that's not how it works. I thought.
I want to major in history.
First of all, you got 2 senior years, and now you're going to be an intern.
Yes. And
I was learning more.
Yeah, and so and that's why they wanted me to like go into science stuff, because they were like, then you'll make money. I had a twin brother, and he went into nursing,
Oh,
because they were.
He's the pride.
Yeah, he really is. And so like, before we went into school, my parents were like, you should both be nurses. It's you'll always have a job and you'll always have a ton of money. And my brother was like, okay. And now he's a nurse and he makes a ton of money. And I was like, no, I want to do my own thing. I need to. When me and Jarrett growing up, we were so tied together. We were the Barney brothers. And then like once I got to like do my own thing, it was like, I am a person. I'm a person outside of him. And I like that. I really didn't know that for a long time.
Wow.
And then I decided to not do that thing. And so I think so much of my life is proving that was an okay decision.
Right.
To prove that I didn't do what my parents said. And I've always done what my parents said. Right. I want to make them proud. I want to do right by them. And I did, I made this decision that went against that, and I had a brother that didn't. So the control is there, and he's still doing better. I mean, trust me. But I think a big part of it is being like, I'm doing it, Mom. I didn't fail. I'm not failing, and I think a big part of that is proving that. So that's a big I think that's a big chip that's in my brain all the time.
Sure.
But that's just that's the fear, and now that I'm in this place, part of that why has been changing, because a big part of it was fear. A big part of it was wanting to have a job. Now I got I got the job. I'm doing fine, and I'm in this place, and I've got Jordan as my boss, and Jordan's why is always, it's like, how do I do good for the community? I feel like a lot of my life has been, how do I do good for me?
Sure.
How do I make it? How can I think about other people when I am freaking out and scared every day that I am failing, and that I need to get to this place. And Jordan's goal every single day is, how do I bring someone else up?